I haven't done one of these in a really long time. And this time it's not going to be about webcamming. I'm going to talk about making food because I'm bored at home and I have nothing fucking better to do. So today I'm going to make a Hungarian goulash. And before anybody says fucking anything, just remember, I know this is not an authentic Hungarian goulash. I know that they don't use flour in it. I don't fucking care. You're going to eat it and you're going to fucking like it. So my lighting is terrible. I don't have my professional lighting kit, and so I'm kind of at the whims of this terrible overhead light that's going on right here. So please excuse the quality on this one. Maybe if I decide to do another one in the future, it'll look a little bit better. Let's see. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make a Hungarian goulash. It's a lot like a beef stew, except for the fact that it has a few more spices, and it tends to be a little bit more sauce heavy as opposed to like a thick stew heavy. So it's just slightly different. But let me show you how to start it out. So the first thing that you do is you need to kind of chop up a few onions. I'm going to chop up about this much onion at this point. I don't even know if you can see it because of that shitty lighting. So knife work is important, except when you're going to cook the shit out of something. And we're going to cook the shit out of this, so you really don't have to worry about how finely or like, you know, coarsely chopped it is, just that it kind of looks chopped, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a, a yellow pepper, a red pepper, and a green pepper, and I'm going to chop those up as well. So, da da da, let's see. Da 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 da. Yes, I didn't seed it properly. That's what's going on right now. Chop, choppy, 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 having to pull seeds out later. Alright, so we just coarsely chop these things up. Again, these are going to be cut to shit, so these are going to be cooked to shit, so it doesn't really make any difference. So what you can do is you could call this like a rustic cut. It's a country cut. I'm gonna country cut up this shit. I'm going to go ahead and put it in a bowl because of the fact that as I mentioned, didn't seed this properly, so that I can get the seeds out. Don't do that, folks. Seed shit. All right. You're really banking on my skills at this point, aren't you? I'm showing you exactly how to do this right. Here. All right. And now we're going to do the same thing. Let's see. First, we get all that garlic off of there. Okay. Now I'm using an older one, if you couldn't tell. This is also a really good way of clearing out some of the old vegetables that you might have sitting around. Because I always get peppers, and I don't always use them. So stew, like this one, the goulash is a really good way to go to try to get rid of those types of things. Now, if you were a good person, you'd actually rinse off the seeds too, but I'm in too much of a hurry to get to the portion where I open up a bottle of wine so I can put a glass into the sauce. So I'm not going to do that. Someone's going to eat me alive for this. That. Now one more pepper. What you hear in the background is the dryer. If you hear any kind of weird noises, it might be that. Because I am going full housewife right now. Oh, I shouldn't be doing that. use the part of the knife, huh? There we go. All right, so that is all of the peppers that we're going to use. Now, let me rinse this off one more time. Get rid of those seeds. Maybe clean up a little bit of my mess. Yes. Definitely yes. Yes, cat. All right. And now for the garlic. I went ahead and peeled it because nobody needs to watch me do that. That's a hell on earth that nobody needs to try to escape from. Though I'm sure there are like super lots of cool tricks about how you can, you know, peel garlic without having to actually peel it. You can watch another video about that someplace else. Not here. All right. Easiest thing to do is crush the garlic. Not cut your hand trying to do it because they're slippery. Oh, Jesus, girl. Really? It's a good thing I didn't start drinking it. There. And then closely chop those up a little bit because, again, they're just going to be cooked to shit. So it doesn't really make any fucking difference. Okay. So now I'm going to have to move you so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so now that I've moved you guys, oh, this is looking really sexy. I am feeling fucking sexy here. All right, so the next step that we're gonna do, and this is what can, like, you can kind of tell this is goulash because of this one little step, is I'm gonna use bacon fat. So like this is a strangely thing that you can buy in Germany that I've never really seen in the US. And what it is just a big giant mass of bacon fat. I'm guessing because the fact that they like to make their sausages so much, you know? But this is actually really good to fry up the vegetables and the meat. So let's go ahead and not that one. That one, okay. I'm gonna turn it like not to a very high temperature because we don't want to, okay. So this is heating up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take about a tablespoonful, like an actual tablespoon full of this, and put it inside. Vegetarians love her. I cook vegetarian food too. I'm not terribly good at vegan, I must admit. That takes a lot more skill than I have. And you can't put disgusting fat into it. Okay, that was more than a tablespoon. That was about 2 tablespoons. Now we're just going to wait for it to melt down. There's a light up here somewhere. There we go. And you can't see in there now. You can't see in there. It's all too bright. It's reflecting too much. Anyway, there's bacon fat in there. Maybe apparently I need to get a new camera. All right, that's actually worse. So let's turn it off so you can see it. So bacon fat, you can deal with the shadow. Until I finally fucking get some light. I'm really just doing this because why the fuck not, you know? Okay, I'm gonna get out the meat. Rinder goulash, which you should never do. Never buy this, okay? Like, I know it seems really convenient to buy the pre-cut meat if you're going to be doing a stew, but they are literally like the worst cuts of meat. It's not like they chopped it up nicely for you just because, like, to make your life convenient. It's because they didn't go with anything else. Like, they didn't go with anything else, you know? So it's like the little chopped up ends of meat after they, you know, so you don't really know what cut of meat you're getting, but because it had the name Goulash on it, I just decided to go with it. I feel like I'm like camming from outer space because I'm losing. My feed keeps on getting really choppy. Cooking up the fat. Ooh, that's not cooking up how I expected it to. Browning in a way that I didn't expect it to, as opposed to just melting like I'd like it to. We'll see if it improves. And until then, I think I need to open that bottle of wine because I'm definitely needing it to air out. So here's a little wine tip when it comes to cooking. Like, there's cooking wine, which is like really cheap wine, which is fantastic. And then there is pretty good wine that you could drink. That's my dog. It would also go very nicely with it. So I'm going with like kind of a mid-price nice wine to put inside, okay? I gotta stop singing that song. I'm gonna drive everybody nuts. And how do you know that you live in a classy apartment? You left the cork on the last time that you used it. All right. Still cooking down that fat. I'm gonna get a Rocha. This is a Spanish wine, which will be nice and easy, not too strong against all the other flavors that I'm going to be putting into this. Jesus Christ. I just keep on getting jerky. That's weird. I'm going to let that air out. And the most important way to let that air out is to get a glass for yourself. Don't be shy. It's okay. You only need like a cup for your fucking stew, so you're fine, I promise. Alright, this is still cooking down. You want to see? Here. Ooh, it's being popped. Don't touch it. Just don't touch it. Ah! Maybe I turn that down to 5. Ow! Maybe I'll put the lid on it. Maybe I'll ruin my hardwood floors. How's that sound? Alright. Definitely too hot. And you need this to not be too hot. Just remember that. Okay. So I was looking for a paper bag, which I can't find. I was hoping to like kind of dredge, like a really easy way to get a little bit of flour onto your meat is that you dredge the, like you put a little bit of the flour into a bag and then you put the meat in and you shake it like those old, like what is that called? The pork shake bag things? What the fuck was that called? Do you remember? Anyway. I'm gonna remember at some point and I'm gonna blurt it out, I swear. But instead what I'm gonna do is just put it in. Oh yeah, this is the cheapest of meats. I mean, it's fine, it's gonna cook for fucking hours, but put it in here. And I'm making this into 2 parts. Ooh. I'm making this into a 2-part video. I'm gonna do a base, and then I'll come back and I'm gonna cook the vegetables after that because this is cheap ass meat, so it really needs to cook for a really long time after I cook off all the garlic and everything else too. So just like that, pretty simple. And I'm just doing it in batches. All right, let's check on it. Okay, that's better. It's not sizzling anymore. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the onions, put the onions in, let them cook in that delicious fat. And I'm going to take the green peppers. Go ahead and dump those bitches in there too. And just let that cook for a little while until they soften up. And now it's time to have some of that wine. Cooking is the best thing in the world. Now I'm going to put the garlic in, but I'm going to do it in just a tiny bit later because garlic, like the worst thing you can do is burn garlic. You can burn onion and it'll taste fine. If you burn garlic, your dish is completely ruined. So, and I'm kind of a lazy, shitty chef, and so I tend to like wander away from things. And then, you know, forget to check on them. So there we go. We're still cooking. Still cooking. I've had a little bit more of the wine, and I fixed this apron a little bit because it was, you know, stupid. Here, does this help my face lighting at least? I really need to get another lighting kit, you know that? Yes, I am just going to talk endlessly at the camera at this point. All right, let's check. See how it's looking. I don't think it's made much progress, to be quite honest. Not that you can see, it's just a big blurry mess. Don't you love a cooking video where you can't even see the food? It's the best. All right. So it's cooking down. The vegetables are getting a little softer, but they're still not terribly soft. But I am going to go ahead and toss in the garlic at this point. Because raw garlic might be nice in a few things, but not in most things. This is 5 cloves of garlic, by the way. And I think I'm going to turn up the heat a little bit. If in doubt, just fuck with it. Seriously. If you're not sure if it's hot enough, turn it up and see then if it's too hot. Cooking is supposed to be fun. This isn't baking, you know what I mean? Like baking is a pain in the ass and it's super precise. Cooking is just kind of fucking around until you figure out what you like. And always make sure to taste everything while you're cooking. That's also super important. Because it might look great, but it might taste like ass. I mean, not like literally ass, then you've really made some mistakes that we don't need to discuss in life, but... Alright, so it looks like it's beginning to heat up quite nicely. One of the things that I'm going to add to it as well is a rinderfond. Jesus Christ. Can you see it if I cover the... See, it's got a rinderfond. Rinderfond is just like a beef broth, but fancy, because it's in glass, because that's what they do here in Europe. Not cans. Still cooking. I'm going to fast forward some of this in the future. And if you ever decide that like the pieces that you did cut up, you want them cut smaller, you gotta just chop it up with your spoon. But you shouldn't be afraid of cooking. Cooking is simple, and everybody makes mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, and some of them are horrifying. Some of them are good mistakes, like you discover the flavors that you didn't know you could create. Just hope that like the horrifying mistakes aren't when you have a lot of people over. So big hint, okay? If you're going to be doing a dinner party, like with friends that you don't know very well, don't try to be impressive. Just try to make something that you know how to make, you know? Something you make really well. That's my tip. Because there are too many times that I've been like, oh, I'm gonna make this really fancy thing, and then it turns into like just a nightmare. Even if I make it, it's so stressful, you know, trying to make sure that that meal turns out perfectly, something I'm not familiar with. So just don't do that, okay? Just don't stress yourself out. If you want to experiment with food, like experiment with food on your own, or like with, you know, your partner, you know? If it's a big fancy thing, just take experiment with the food, and then like when you've perfected that recipe, introduce it to the world. Things are still pretty crunchy here. Not that it really matters, because I'm going to be cooking it forever. So what makes this goulash is also the fact that you use a shit ton of paprika in it, okay? So I don't know if you know what paprika actually is, but paprika is actually red pepper, like bell pepper, red bell pepper that has been dried and then kind of crushed. And there are lots of different varieties of it. There's like smoked, there's sweet. Hungarian tends to be a sweet, I should do that all over my food, shouldn't I? That's great. Hungarian tends to be like a sweet paprika. So you should use this, and then also like a little bit of caraway seed. I unfortunately am an asshole, and I forgot to get caraway seeds when I went to the store, and it's not something I normally cook with. So what I'm using instead is fennel seeds, and I'm using just slightly less. You could probably use just the same amount because they have kind of the same base flavor, kind of this licorice taste to them. But at the same time, like, I don't want to fuck shit up, so I'm gonna play it on the safe side, and I put like, instead of putting a full teaspoon in, I put like a little less than a teaspoon in. Okay. All right, so this is beginning to brown nicely now. So you don't need to see the food, you just need to hear us talking, right? Endless talking in bad light. That's what you get. And listening to my laundry. Yeah, maybe I should close that door. Hold on. You would never think I was like ever in front of the camera with how bad this lighting is. Downcast, my age. We know better than this, girls, don't we? All right, so I'm going to turn it down to 5. I don't know what in the US, what would you call that? That froze at a really great place. That was a fantastic face I was making. I don't know what's going on with my, whatever. This is just going to be on fucking Twitter, so who gives a shit? It's not like anybody paying for it. I'm not going to build subscribers. Oh my god, seriously? I mean, it can't be my internet connection. Anyway, so then you just take this and dump it on. Mix it up. Me wishing I'd put more fat in. But I always want more fat. I'm a horrible human being that way. All right. But this gives the like it's really important that you don't just throw like raw raw spices into something. Like if you're gonna make something, you should let it have the chance to kind of cook, you know? Like, does that make sense? Like you're cooking with it. But if you're ever even like making an Indian, don't just be like, oh, I'm making this Indian, and now I'm just gonna go ahead, I'm gonna toss this meat in here, by the way. I'm making this Indian food, and so I'm just gonna like make the sauce, and then I'm gonna toss all the spices on top of it. Like, don't fucking do that shit, because all it's gonna taste like is raw spice. And nobody wants that. God, this meat is terrible. Jesus Christ, I made such a mistake. Mistake! Mistake! Never buy this shit, ever. It's so fucking awful. Like, let me show you how I know. Like, that's silver skin. That's not fat. Like, that's the connective tissue that goes in between muscles. There's gonna be like 5 million different videos, isn't it? It already is, isn't it? I haven't cut it yet, so I don't really know. Alright, a little bit more flour. That's sugar. That would be a huge mistake. Oh, it's over here. It froze again. If you see Kirkin seeing really weird jump cuts, it's because it keeps on freezing. And cook a little bit more. Just don't, okay? Look, I'm telling you as a friend here. I don't even know what kind of meat this is. Cuts. I'm gonna stick my raw hand in there. Infect the entire bag. There's one thing I do, it's practice good. Good hygiene in my kitchen. The sink is behind you, if you couldn't tell. Might be burning it to the bottom a bit. Yeah, just a little. I knew better than that. I knew better. But it doesn't smell burnt, so it's fine. That is really a thing. Does it smell burnt? No? You're fine. It just smells burnt, and you're like, maybe it's okay. It's not. You just need to toss it and start the fuck over again. But I think that's actually the flour that's burned down to the bottom. It's not the spices. All right, let's see if I can give you a clear view of this. Like, this has some color now, so maybe you'll be able to see it. God damn it. Like, that looks like dog shit. What the fuck? Okay, let's turn up the light. I mean, now it looks like a 1970s, like, you know, cooking thing, but Jesus. Why did I get rid of my lights after I stopped, huh? Oh, I know why, because I didn't want to fucking carry them home. Okay. Cooking, store them in the basement. I hate those lights anyway, to be quite honest. They were not strong. Like, you shouldn't have to use 3 lights to light up a room. That's just dumb. So what you do is you cook this for a little while. That's how much time. You cook it until you think it's kind of done, until like you can't really see any more pink when it comes to the meat. Yeah. I think I'm like to 22 minutes at this point. I'm gonna have to edit this, aren't I? Otherwise, it's gonna be like one of those fucking terrible YouTube videos where people never get to the point. Anyway, this is how I feel about this thing, but let me tell you about other things for 25 minutes before I actually get to my fucking point. Drives me nuts. Get to your point. Write out what you're gonna say. I say this, I haven't written out anything. But I'm following a recipe, so it's a little different. I'm just filling space with my mouth. My dog really hates me right now, by the way. She's just staring at me. It's her poor. It's her life. Being annoyed that I'm on camera. She went to the park today. Don't judge me. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. I'm at 6. I'm going to turn it up to 7. There are going to be a shit ton of people tell me exactly what I'm doing wrong. I don't fucking care. Suck my dick. It's going to be delicious. Nobody's going to care that I didn't glaze the pot properly. Deglaze. Deglaze, goddammit. See, I love the fact that the first thing I decided to make was something like a stew that like takes a little bit of time to construct. It's like, here's 3 steps, and here's me stirring and covering the pot and stirring again. I'm trying to keep it from getting burned to the bottom because I turned up the heat. This smells really nice, by the way. I mean, it's got 5 cloves of garlic. Why wouldn't it smell nice, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep on doing this for a bit. I'm going to pour in the broth, and I'm going to pour in some of the wine, and then I'm going to let it sit for about 2.5 hours. And then after that, we'll come back, and then I'll show you the progress it's made. And then I'll do the vegetables that are going to go inside. A lot of people don't use vegetables in their goulash. Like, this is the base of it. And then what they do is they actually like take potatoes, or they take like Spätzle if you're German, or like egg noodles, and they put it underneath. But my boyfriend is Irish, and if it doesn't have a fucking potato in it, I'm in trouble. It just doesn't count if it's on the bottom and you put it on separately. I'm also putting a lot more meat into this. I'm going to turn it back down again. I'm putting a lot more meat into this than like a standard goulash, because normally the goulash is very like soup-like, you know, as opposed to stew-like. But I'm going to make it very stew-like. So what I'm doing now is I'm tossing in about that much wine. This is a dry red. I didn't have it at the right press temperature, but it'll be okay, I promise. Things you do when you're bored on a Thursday. That's right. Things you do when you retire and you have no idea what to do. You make videos. Make videos like this. Look at your future, ladies. That's where you're going, okay? I'm waiting for it to come kind of up to a boil, and then I'm going to go ahead and pour this in. Ooh, that actually looks really nice. I mean, if I show it to you, you won't be able to tell. I'll put this in like better lighting and show you after it's cooked down. Fair? Okay. The worst deep cut. I really hope that doesn't affect the flavor of this. Like, I really hope it's not like chewy and shitty. Like, it's gonna cook for like 4 fucking hours, so it should be fine. But you can never tell when it comes to meat like that. So don't take shortcuts like I did. Just don't do yourself a favor and just get a fucking, what do you call that? Like a roast, and then just chop it into pieces. Like that would make your life a lot easier. There's way too much meat in this, by the way. This is enough for like 40 people. I could feed the fucking masses. I mean, it's, you know, stew. You'll eat it forever, so it's okay. All right. And now I'm just going to bring this up. Jesus Christ. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that fucking fat. Ugh. Okay. Hopefully it'll cook off. It'll be delicious. Fucking delicious. All right. So we'll let this sit. It smells good though. It's perfect winter food, you know. I don't know why. Because it has a sauce? Because it's really heavy and fats? I don't know. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and cover this, and I'm going to come back and check in with you guys in a few hours if anybody actually wants to watch this. Well, it's going to be scrolling across your feed, so you can always just mute this shit if you want to, I guess. Okay, see you in a bit. Bye.